The following moments may contain explicit language.
Roger, Charlie, we're ready to rock.
Welcome to the SNLF Dugout Diaries. Today we're joined by Mark Hunnisett of AFC Goring. He's currently the club's secretary and reserve team manager. And also he's a very important member of the committee of the Sussex Sunday League. He's a guy I've known for many, many years. I've played with and under. He's an all-round great guy and face known in the non-league football scene of Sussex. Mark, how are you?
I'm well, Macca. How are you? Good afternoon.
Really good. Thanks for coming on the show, pal.
No, loving your work at the moment. Just been listening in or eavesdropping. So yeah, keep it up from behalf of everyone that's been listening in and all of Sussex football. Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air, mate. So I love your work.
I'm really grateful for the support. We all are. There seems to have been a real get behind for the website and the podcast over the last couple of months. So for everyone listening out there, we're really grateful. So on to Mark today. So Mark, tell us a little bit, for people that don't know you. Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your early life before we start talking the meat and potatoes, which is football.
Right. So yeah, I'd say my early life, I would probably describe myself as a bit of a football nerd. One of those romantics that everything centres around football, and it always has done from my earliest memory, from the age of 8, noting down sort of goal scorers in the playground at primary school, to studying match reports, you name it, I did it. League ladders, fantasy football teams with guys around your local neighbourhood. So setting up my own local team at the age of 8, sort of like just with friends. So everything centred around football from sort of a young age, and yeah, that's carried through through to my adult life. So obviously I grew up. I've got 2 brothers in the family, both football mad as well. So yeah, it's always been football's always been my passion, like the ins and outs on it. Even sort of like at the age of sort of 10, 11, riding down on your bike to the local park and watching your local team in the park. But I think they were called Ilex Rovers back in the day. And even just go every Sunday, I had to go down, watch their game, and just record their scores. I was almost doing stats before stats became a thing. Yeah, I was a bit of a nerd. Good, obviously, got a bit of stick for it. So yeah, it's always just been football, and not much has changed since then. Just obviously on a little bit more of a bigger scale now.
So I assume you're still based in and around Worthing Way?
Yeah. So I still live in Worthing. Yeah. So obviously, running my own side now. I've done for 10 years, and part of the committee. So it's getting involved with everything I can. So obviously, give lads. We've all grown up around local football. We played Sunday League. You were lucky enough to play County League. Saturdays, unfortunately, was always closed off to me. I started work at the age of 16, straight from school, and it involved working Saturdays. So Saturday's never been an open door to me. Something obviously I have a hunger for and a passion for, but yeah, it just never happened, unfortunately. So it's always been Sundays. It's always been my thing. But that's my be all and end all.
You are the first. You are the first Sunday manager we've had on the D.
Oh, brilliant! No, hopefully more will follow as well. But just Sunday's always been my passion. It's I've always got behind Sunday football, and some of my biggest memories from sort of back in the day playing has always been, and the friends I've made have always been through Sunday football. So just having those memories and those dreams, almost those experiences that I wanted to pass on to lads nowadays, because sort of modern day, it's gaming and internet, and you don't see guys just kicking a ball around in the park as frequently as you used to, like when we were kids. So if I could open the door and do that for young lads, so our youngest, we've had a group of sort of 16 come through recently, and then the oldest are still into their mid-40s, Jamie Cole, Paul Mayhew, Dan Cobb. So it's keeping those guys around the club, but also rubbing off on the younger generation, which I think is important.
Well, the one thing that strikes me about you, Mark, and this has been from as long as I've known you, super great bloke, always positive, super organised. It takes a lot to do a football team. It takes a lot more to do a Sunday football team. And I say that because with a Saturday football team, especially in the county leagues and the Isthmian leagues, everything like that, you have a structure in place. Okay, regimented, they know what to do. On a Sunday, I get it's probably down to you. You're calling round people at 10 past 10 for a 10:30 kickoff. Where are you? How do you find that?
Um, it's mainly been pre-organised beforehand. I have I've seen both experiences. I've obviously when I started running a team, it was AFC Worthing. So back in the day,
Talk to
nice
me
to get
about that team because
yeah,
I
what
had
a side.
I had the pleasure of playing a little bit in that team. Talk to me about it because there were some
Yeah,
stars in that, some local stars in that team.
yeah, there was. Yeah, so I joined it as sort of as a player, and I'm still in my sort of mid 20s and enjoyed still playing, and it was sort of like the group for Paul Raps and Dan Raps and yeah, the Raps brothers, all of them
Good
started
guys.
out there. Yeah, so yeah, good guys. Obviously played Paul Raps, who could have played a lot higher than he actually did. Unfortunately, didn't. But yeah, just good guys, and we were very successful. Sort of our first season, sort of won the Worthing and Horsham League Division Two, like stormed it. I didn't think we lost a game. Then we beat a couple of good Premier sides at the time in the cup. So it was a real good, and just the memories I've had from that group, the social life and the social side that goes with it, like every good team. And we were run by Steve Nicks at the time. So Joe and Mark's dad.
Yeah,
Um, uh,
really nice fella.
Yeah, really nice fella. So, but unfortunately, obviously, after the first season, he had to chuck it in. So, and I felt, right, we've got a really good side here. We're about to go up to the top division. Is it my opportunity now to step in? So I was pushed a little bit into it. I must say, and anyone who's tried to combine playing and managing, it is almost impossible, especially on a Sunday. Is hats off to anyone that can do that successfully because yeah, that wasn't me. So I almost had to hang up my boots a lot earlier than I expected to obviously then go into management. And yeah, that was started my trade back then, and that was what 2008, 2009 now. So yeah,
Well,
few
that's
years back.
about 15 years in the
Yeah, 15
game.
years ago.
You're obviously every time, like what we hooked up a couple of weeks ago, you were still plying that trade down at Pond Lane in Durham and overseeing AFC Goring, which have been a successful side um, over the years. You seem to have had the core group of players, some really good players in that, like your Beltwoods and people like that, players that have played much higher. And even Joey Nicks himself, you pointed out, was still playing, which uh, after playing with him many years ago, it's a testament to him how he's kept himself so fit and motivated to play. Because again, you know, he was a great player and his power and that. So why Sunday football then? Because it comes with a lot of baggage. Obviously, you say had you not worked, had you had Saturdays available, would you have had a focus on a Saturday?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I've had offers over the years, but it's literally just been down to work. But unless a county league team's going to come with a full time job that's going to pay my mortgage, it's yeah, it's just been shut off to
I'm
me
not
just
sure
through
there's
work.
many of them about at the moment, mate.
No, that's right. Yeah, I've tried. I've tried. Yeah, it will be my overall ambition to get into Saturday football at some point. But yeah, unfortunately, the years are ticking away, and it just yeah, it hasn't happened as yet. But it
Well,
would be my overall ambition. Yeah.
I know if that opportunity comes up, you'd be a fantastic candidate for that. You really would. Obviously, a great team. You're the kind of guy that football teams have to have, and if they don't have, it doesn't matter what players you've got. It's about. I'm more talking about. It's about the structure, about someone being the glue to make it all happen. Okay, the one that can G up the players, the one that can get the players in, the one that can take care of the admin, the one that can get the fees done, collect the fines, stuff like that. How much of a ball ache is that?
It's you're going. The difference there is between why AFC Worthing didn't last and why I'd moved to AFC Goring and became part of AFC Goring. So AFC Worthing, I was doing pretty much everything on my own. So even from sort of like that first game, we played Goring Rangers. My first game as a manager, opening day of the season. And you remember Goring Rangers back then? A good start.
Yeah, I mean that was Dave Langley's team, wasn't it? Had
so Paul Brown.
Yeah,
they were a good side, and we had the opening game of the season, first season in the Prem. It was a first game at Pond Lane, and I switched the system up, so I went to wing backs.
Okay.
And I had Alex Bryan in my face before the game, almost screaming at me, "What are you doing? You haven't got a clue." And you know Alex Bryan as well as I do.
Alex, just for the record, is one of my closest mates. To the point where I actually told him you were coming on the podcast. I was with him. I had to sit through him in the Chelsea game. He was around my house having a few beers, and he knows I'm a United fan. He's a Chelsea fan, and so he sends his best, by the way. But
brilliant.
But I remember I remember you bringing me in for a game. I'm sure it was against someone like Ajax, Billinghurst, or something like that.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I met Alex. And bearing in mind, at the time, we didn't realise that we lived 100 yards from each other, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I remember.
Yeah. So he's brought me in the change room, and all I'd known of Alex was he was a top goalkeeper. He was at Brighton, south of England, stuff like that. Didn't work out, whatever it was. And you were playing him centre half. And I remember saying to Dan Raps, I was like, "Ain't he a goalkeeper?" And he went, "No, he's he can fucking play centre half at this level." What I didn't realise was there was a striker playing for him. I'm sure his name's Grantham.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Now, Craig Grantham, yeah.
Yeah. Now this geezer, I'd come across in the county leagues, and we'd had a few battles. Yeah. And I said to Alex, I said, "Right, that's the geezer that we need to be looking at." And he went, "Oh, don't worry. I've been having some battles with him online." Right. So I didn't realise it. First tackle, he's come in. I've won the header. I've fallen on him. And accidentally, Alex Bryant's fallen on him very hardly too at the same time. With that, the player got up, realised he didn't fancy that on a Sunday morning, on a cold Sunday morning in Billinghurst. And with that, it was off 10 minutes later. So that's what I do remember from that game. I think we won about 5-0, wasn't it? Or something like that. Or something.
It was 5-1 at Pond Lane. So I remember in the news, the local Argus, they printed Ajax Kings Arm beaten for the first time in 18 months. And we did them 5-1 at Pond Lane. So, yeah, I always remember that. And I remember having a ding-dong with him as well, because it was on the old Nomad forum that they used to do online.
Funny you should say that. People don't know, and they're going to hear now. We've developed the software behind that. So in January, a new updated version of that same kind of principle, public forum, is going to be beta tested out with a group. So I remember that forum. I loved it. I know you were on it. People like Sooty were on it. Alex was on it. Players from around, and they could give their 2 cents in. A bit of banter flying around. So yes, that will be coming to our brand in January. So there's a little spoiler.
No, it's brilliant. So, but the problem with AFC Worthing, even though we had a very, very good team, was the longevity of it. I was doing it on my own, and when you're putting your own money into it as well, because you're asking people for the subs and they're turning up, "Oh, well, I've got on me 67p." It gets to a point it's not sustainable. So I thought, right, we're going to go out at the top. I can't afford to keep running this every week. And it was disappointing because obviously the years we had and the trophies we won, we could have got a lot further, sort of county cups, etc. Just as I say, it wasn't sustainable. So I took a couple of years out of football after AFC Worthing.
How did you feel? because you're a football guy through and through, and for you not to be in the game for a couple of years, did that take a toll on you? Did you lose that love for it?
It did, but I think my children were quite young at the time, so I think
Okay.
the rest did me good to re-energise. And I just always said to myself, I will get back in. I will get back in. The right opportunity will come along, and yeah, and just make something that's a bit more longer lasting. I can see there's a future and a plan and something that you can progress rather than you see these teams come and go. They'll win trophies, but in 2 or 3 seasons they're just going to be gone again. And it's just and that's what I never wanted. I never wanted to sort of be part of something that's not going to have that longevity to it. So that's where obviously the couple of years later the AFC Goring
So
obviously part came in.
so did you found that side yourself? Was it a new side?
No, so they were a group of lads that were called the Warwick.
Yep.
But they were always part of sort of the bottom league of the Worthing and Horshams, and that's back in the day where they had about 5 divisions.
Right.
And then they weren't doing too well. They were sort of straightening around the bottom leagues. I went there at first as a player. And I just wanted to play again. So I got myself fit and thought, yeah, I'll go start playing again.
You went in the back door then?
Yeah, sort of like the back door. The manager was a bit of a lively character. He liked to night out, let's put it that way, and everything that came with a night out. And unfortunately, the night out then came on to the Sunday morning as well, whereas he didn't know how to draw the line.
We've
So
all
I
been
thought,
there.
yeah, but they were a good group of lads, and you think, how have these guys? And they're a good group off the field. We did a tour in Amsterdam that I went with, and it was just like, yeah, just a good group of guys. But they've never really had success, never really experienced anything. Just knocked around in the bottom division, and yeah, never really got any in the top half of that division either. So I just felt right. There is an opportunity here to obviously go a bit further forward with them, and yeah, they've got some good guys behind the scene. I saw the potential was there. But honestly, the level from if you're comparing sort of AFC Worthing to AFC Goring, the level down, even I looked quite good when I was playing for AFC Goring at the start. Yeah, it was a different approach, but yeah, it's just and then just obviously just slowly built from there. So that was 2014, I think, when we started that. So it's
Yeah. So did you start bringing in your own team, your own players?
yeah, so it happened sort of in the middle of a season that the manager turned up. Obviously, had been on a wild one the night before. He picked the team, picked the formation, sent us out. We're 3-1 down. Went in at half time, and he was nowhere to be seen. So he'd obviously gone off somewhere. It's like typical Sunday League manager. Oh God, I can't be dealing with this. It's like this is too much. So a couple of guys that were playing were founded the club and said, "Oh, we'll get you. If you want to take over, so we're getting beat here. What do you want to do?" So I switched it around, switched a few positions around. We ended up drawing the game 3-3, and it just sort of like I got offered the job full time from them. So just saw out the season, just got an idea of what the players were like there. Obviously, a few that I'd played with, and then sort of hit it big in the summer and just went out and got players that I knew that could improve the team. So the likes of Josie and Jake Statham,
Yeah.
Aaron
Good man.
Minton, Justin Osborne, so it's just to name a few, and then just brought them in with players that I thought had the ability to play at a higher level, and then just built from there, really.
So what's your style of play?
I'm old school, Macca. I'm old school. I'm all about results. So
Like
I'm
that.
not. Yeah, you see the modern football with the building from the back. Yeah, you take a 1-2 touch football, playing out short. Try doing that down Pond Lane on a Sunday morning. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. So you play to what you've got, the tools that you've got, and the conditions that you've got. So it's I don't mind a long ball forward, play it to the big man, let it hold it up, or knock it on for a run and running through. I'm all for that. So
That's the Route 101 book of Sunday League
yeah,
football.
yeah, it's just going out of fashion, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm again one of those old school. Been brought up in the old days before the VAR, before all of this rubbish, and yeah, just all about results really. What can I do? And my trick is I try to watch the game and take all the emotion out of it. So almost watch it
Right.
as you would watch the game on telly. and then just think, what would I do? And I've watched enough football games in my life to think, right, I would do this. I would take him off, or I'd move him over to the left, or I'll change to this formation. And yeah, just watch it and almost treat it as I'm watching a game on TV. And it's as simple as that, really.
Well, I see your team. One thing I notice about your team, you've obviously got a close group of lads there because you're always doing socials. I hear you're always down the Boozer down in Taryn, the George there, pub I know well. Lovely,
Yeah.
lovely little pub down there. I'm assuming they're a tight bunch, are they?
They are. We've obviously progressed over the years. So I've got certain people in certain places. So we brought in a chairman a couple of years ago. Because what happens is you almost get stuck with complaints because we launched a reserve team as well. So we run the two sides.
Yeah.
And the problem is you can get drawn into the politics of a team you have no control over. So a player from the other side then moans, "Oh, I'm not being played, or I'm being played out of position." We brought in a chairman to obviously take all that politics away from me, so I don't have to deal with it. We've got a lady that does social media. My wife washes the kits and is our
first off, the lady that does the social media, do you want to give her a shout out because she's done fantastic?
Yeah, big shout out to Tasha that does our social media. So it's Hobby's other half.
I know.
Yeah. So let's say it's almost you're running a side, but you're putting people in the places. Like and a big shout out to our treasurer Matteo, who's also my assistant. Wasn't my assistant manager. He stayed with the first team now. I'm doing the reserves, and he works for HMRC, so he had treasurer written all over him, didn't he? So
well, I'm assuming he ain't the geezer I saw swigging the bottle of whiskey on the sideline on Sunday.
No, that was an excitable fan that got asked to leave on a number of occasions. But that's a local park football for you, isn't it?
But for people that don't know that listen out there, I obviously went and saw Mark's team play on the Sunday morning, and in iconic Sunday League fashion, there was a supporter on there that was carrying on his night out from the night before with a bottle of whiskey. He was being no trouble at all. Just living his life and that. And I looked around and I thought, yeah, this is Sunday football. Love it. Top work.
Normally they're on the pitch.
So Mark, you've obviously you're playing at a decent standard, with especially with the first team there. Okay, who's your standout players? Because I could tell you, the one for me is obviously Barney Boutwood. Fantastic striker. Probably could have played even higher than he has, but he's also a guy that I know that no matter how he feels in the morning, he'll probably be there on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, he's a good lad. He's a good lad.
He is.
And a lot of the lads I've got to know personally off the pitch as well as on it. So yes, I know what's going on in their life. I know how they and what makes them tick. Probably with him, he does like a night out. Yeah, and unfortunately that has cost him for playing Saturday football or playing at a level that he should really have been, and he should really be. But yeah,
you've got to almost accept him for who he is. And almost it's been he's you've got to support
that way. You've got to support him. So we've run and got him on a Sunday morning from London before because he's been on a night out. We've run and got him for Hastings, and I mean you're leaving at 4 or 5 in the morning to go and pick him up.
But he scores goals, doesn't he? He does score goals.
But he scores goals. And it was actually the day we picked him up from London, I think we got beat 8-0. So that was a waste of time.
That sounds a waste of time, yeah. So Mark, so Mark, you've also got a very respected role within Sunday football. You're part of I believe you're the committee in the Sussex Sunday Football League. Is that correct?
Yes, joined this season. Yeah.
Can you just tell me? Because I know you've also played that role in other leagues as well. It takes it's obviously a volunteer's role. It's not a paid role. This is more thing you're taking on along with your family, your job, your football club, and being a committee member. Tell me what that involves, being a committee member of the football league.
So it's, what people don't see behind the scenes with any people that run a league. So I've run a club, and I compare a run a league. It is the amount of work that goes into it behind the scenes. It is incredible. And it's easy for people to sit online and criticise how leagues are run or criticise certain members of who run the league. Unless you see what they do day to day.
Tell us, because I'll be honest.
It's all the organisation that goes
I've had
into
my share of hearings and disagreements, but at the same time, I'm fully respectful of what the leagues and the committees do. But tell us what goes on behind the scenes.
So we get an agenda, and we get obviously notes every week. It's everything and everything that you can discuss, and you could just discuss disciplinaries. You could just discuss ineligible players. You could just discuss AGMs. Everything and anything that goes on behind the league. And the way I saw it is.
So are you involved in, say, for example, a player gets suspended for, let's say, a violent conduct, and there's like a hearing? Are you involved in those kind of?
No.
Things?
So the county deals with all of that.
Okay.
So any sort of disciplinary goes to them. It's more sort of registration of players, playing eligible players.
Do you find that's still a thing these days? People playing ringers?
Oh yes, it happens. And despite the fines being huge, honestly, it's unbelievable. Even from calling a game.
If I was running a Sunday side, and I stuck a couple of ringers in, okay, it found out. What is the type of punishment these days?
So I think the fine is £250 per player.
Wow, so, just for one player. So two players per kill a club.
Yeah, so it is, but there's no excuse for it. So the registration is open till Saturday morning. So bearing in mind you playing on a Sunday morning, there should be no reason why you should play an under-registered player. It's just people being lazy, really.
So are you saying, because back in the old days, I remember what it was like in those leagues. You used to fill out a card, drop it through some geezer's letterbox, and then the next day, he'd fill out these little cards, all the forms and that, and it'd be done. Now, obviously, I'm involved in the youth side. Okay, I run an under-14 side as long as being a first-team coach at Arundel. But at the same time, it's all done like by full-time on the FA now. Is that still the same?
Yeah, exactly the same. So, all the players are registered on the online on the whole game system. Mm-hmm. It goes to a registry secretary, Peter, who does a great job, and he has done for many years. And before, when you confirm the games, there's a squad list that you can download from the whole game, which has every player registered to your team and their pictures. So you have to send that squad list to your opponents 3 working days before the game. Okay. So if you're getting a team sheet, you can compare your team sheet on a Sunday morning to the pictures that they've sent you during the week. So you'll know if someone's playing an unregistered player.
So if I knew that someone was playing an unregistered player before the game and allowed the game to start, would I get the points if proven?
Yes, you would indeed. Yes, you would. Yeah,
even if we lost 10-0.
Yeah, very, very simple. I think teams are instructed to actually play the game. But just make sure you take a photo. This is the player that I feel that's unregistered. You can compare him to your squad list. Is that him? No, that isn't. You then report it to the league.
Do you get repeat offenders in teams?
Oh, yeah. It's some are good. Some will put their hands up and say, "Look, we messed up. We backed up." But others will try and hide it. It's difficult. We hear some excuses, honestly. Even the game being postponed last week. So there's a team that was due to kick off at 3:00. There's a Vets game. I won't name the sides, but they were playing on a G pitch, right? Yeah. And they called it off because it was too windy. It's like,
Was that a Ringmer?
oh no, I don't think. I'm not sure where it was. It's like that's the first on me. We just rolled around in the mud all morning, or avoiding puddles, and there's teams pulling off games on 3D pitches because it's too windy. It's like, so yeah, you hear all the excuses, but the system is good. It's not bulletproof, I would say. Only the FA could make something to make life easier and even make it even harder.
Right.
But yeah, it's not bulletproof. There's things that can get through, but it's a lot better than it used to be. And also, it's all the information's on there. Everything is online now. So if you want to do a bit of scouting with social media and with the whole game or the full-time FA game, you will know where people play. You will know you can scout the teams down to you'll know exactly what they're lining up with. You know who's playing where. And it's it's just having the hunger and desire to be able to do it as well. It's but you know me, I spend half my life on that website.
It's fantastic. So, Mark, so last few minutes then with you, is it? Just tell me, what's the worst thing about Sunday football?
Oh, without doubt, and you probably had it yourself, club linesmen. We
had a famous one at the Clifton called Bob. And basically, whatever we told him, he did. So we would tell him stick the flag up, and he stick the flag up. Yeah. So I know what you mean when it comes to some crap ones.
Oh, they're the pain of my life. I honestly, it'd probably give me a couple of cardiac arrests every weekend. It's it's the fact that half of them don't actually know the rules, and it's like you're playing football, you must know what an offside is.
You would think they would do, but unfortunately, they're not. So
no, So I wouldn't go as far as saying some do cheat, but I wouldn't say they all cheat. I think it's just you're chucking someone on there that doesn't have a clue, and it's so frustrating. I feel sorry for the refs because they take a lot of abuse just because of what the club linesmen give them.
I was a prime example of giving some refs some shit over the years, and I do apologise for that. But I do realise now that without refs, there's no game. You know, so I think maybe even one day I'll take a refs course. I think just to see it from the other side, as they say. Yeah. But
there's a big shortage of refs, and I encourage anyone who is even thinking about it to try and get involved, because without the refs, we don't have a game. We don't have grassroots football, and all these guys, their memories that we have got, they won't have because of the abuse that is given to refs and the lack of refs.
Well, we have actually got a top ref coming on in the next couple of weeks from Sussex. You know, Paddy will be coming on.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic ref, so we will get his opinion. Okay, then, Martin, any last thoughts?
No, just obviously we've seen leagues diminish at our level. Obviously the Worthing Sunday Leagues is obviously no more, so it's all part of the Sussex Sunday League, and we've obviously seen Worthing Saturday Leagues diminish. So all I would do is just remember that football is a place for everyone. You don't have to be county league level. And there's a lack of a connection with youth teams, I feel, in football. But when they finish their youth football, where do they